Uninitiated, sprint cars are purpose-built open-wheel race cars, Speedway's equivalent of Formula One. They're powered by 410 cubic inch engines running on methanol fuel, producing 850 plus horsepower. The distinctive aluminium top wing is there to provide downforce to help keep all that power on the track.
We are at Murray Bridge for round 9 of the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars, and Stu, Heat 1 was a very tight affair.
Yeah, it was, and great to have Scotty Milling also out on the tour as well, the Western Australian in car 25. He took out Heat 1. Also great once again to have Danny Smith circulating around. Picturesque little bull ring this place is. Upside down goes Dylan Jenkin. Wow, in the Bordertown Hotel, number 51.
He qualified in the top 22, so he'd be bitterly disappointed with that as we go back to racing action.
Oh, Danny Smith weaving his way through the field. Oh, Jason Johnson, contact with Peter Lack, and Danny Reedy just had nowhere to go. But Scotty Milling doing an awesome job out in front, took out heat number 1. Heat 2 went like this as the man on pole, Wayne Rowett and Justin Sloan on the front row. They just had a great battle out in front. Oh, Stephen Lyons gives the don't argue on the inside.
Max Dumsney had plenty of work to do throughout this heat as well.
Oh, Josh Roos just comes straight through in the 99 car. And Wayne Rowett took out the heat win from Max Dumsney.
Heat 3 went this way. Plenty of push and shove in the opening couple of laps, as well as you'd expect from the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars.
Yeah, Eagle got a good start. Oh, Robbie Farr now tags the back of Anderson, keeps the car going. Only just Miolo gets caught up, loses a lot of ground from the field.
When your luck's not in, it's just not in. And at the moment, Robbie Farr, no matter how hard he tries, he's just getting caught up in issues out there, which is really disappointing.
Jamie Veal took this heat out, and what a move it was round Loveday.
Heat 4. When the night time came, the pressure started to really come up. The Adrad machine right in the middle of a sandwich there. There's the number 3 car right up in the action as well.
Oh, big crash down here in turn 4. Philip March upside down. Danny Smith once again in the action there. Oh, contact with Dylan and the South Australia 8 car of Terry Pitt. So Trevor Green now forcing the issue on Caruso. Oh, nearly contact between the two of them. Nice drive by Trevor Green that time. Justin Sloan took the heat win out.
Heat 5, and Peter Lack was right involved in this battle as well.
Yeah, Jamie Veal once again onto the back of Peter Lack, trying to weave his way through. Brooke Tatnell out there. Danny Reedy out there as well. Darren Pittman trying to work the top side of the racetrack. It is an elbows up kind of a heat race.
Tatnell with plenty of pressure right behind him at the moment as well.
Yeah, Jason Johnson, one of those cars, just slides in front of Jamie Cobby. And Pittman trying to weave his way through, but Peter Lack took out heat 5.
Down to heat 6, the final heat of the night, and this one proved to be quite an interesting affair as well.
Yeah, Jason Loveday, great to see him circulating around. Oh no, Sutherland in the 20 car got it all sideways.
And it just Constantina behind, didn't it? Everybody didn't know which way to go, and it was a real traffic jam there for a while. Robbie Farr with plenty of work to do.
Well, this heat actually looks like it's a wheel stand contest. Everybody's pulling wheel stands out there. Glenn Sutherland still got the front wheels off the racetrack, so he's having a big time trying to handle that race car. Grant Anderson now working his way underneath the 28 car and just bangs the wall as Darryl Wright.
Rowett took out the win in heat 6 over Loveday and Anderson. This is the A main, round 9, the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars. Plenty of cars out there with plenty of points up for grabs. Tatnell starts off the front row. Johnson, Robbie Farr in there. Pittman, Anderson, Dillon in the mix as well. As we go back through, Max Dumsney starting out of position 10. McFadden there on row 8 as well.
So we're green, and it looks like Brooke Tatnell's the man that wants to take out round 2 of Speed Week. Oh no, Jason Johnson, the super lock, and then someone's come in and whacked him, spun in front of the field. Can't quite pick up who that is that's come through and collected Jason Johnson, but he's just gone in too hot. He actually got a helping hand from someone as well, but wow, what a way to start the A main.
Yes, and that brings out, of course, the caution. Everybody slows down pretty much instantaneously. They hadn't built up a great deal of pace as we catch the restart. And there is Green picking up a spot off the restart. He'd be happy with that, but he's about to lose it by the look of it.
Yeah, Grant Anderson come back in on the inside of him. Look at Danny Smith working the top side. track 3 cars wide right now. Everywhere you look, there's action aplenty here at Murray Bridge.
No wonder they're touching wheels. With the 3 wide around this very tight and demanding track. Plenty of sideways action as they try and sort themselves out in these opening couple of laps.
Look at the 2 brother-in-laws going at it, Grant Anderson and Cameron Gessner. Gessner's actually married to Anderson's sister as Anderson spins the car.
He cleans up some of the field in the background as well. That the 38 car involved in that.
Now, you just look at that. Matt Eagle and Jamie Veal, they're actually got their Nerf bars stuck together, and Eagle's trying to get off him. And it's a beautiful pirouette.
Precision driving, to say the least.
Contact of Eagle onto the back of Veal. Gee, Dancing with the Stars, nearly almost the way they're pirouetting on the racetrack.
Wouldn't you back out of it? Wouldn't you say we're going nowhere?
Well, he's obviously trying his best so he can continue on the race and not go back to the back of the field. Restart. The man out in front right now is Luke Dillon.
Well, he's got plenty of work to do, and he's got some hard chargers sitting right behind as well.
Yeah, Dumsney, once again, he hasn't had a great start to the Wanderless World Series Sprintcars series. He's always been starting in the middle of the pack, and he's got to weave his way through the field.
But Stuart, would you ever count him out? Would you ever say he's no chance?
No, never.
Yeah,
never.
Right.
Never. Or for that man there, Darren Pittman either. Good to have him back on our Australian shores, driving the Titan Garages and Carports number 21. Brooks Hatnell in the Toyota Genuine Parts number 2, cool, weaving his way through the traffic. Look at Danny Smith and Trevor Green now. Everywhere you look, there's just battles everywhere.
And Tatnell on target again to pick up the maximum 150 points. He's pushing hard.
Yeah, Trevor Green had a very busy day here at the racetrack, rebuilding a brand new car after that massive crash at Speedway City the night before. So he's obviously got the car working quite well.
It's a great testament to the team to be able to do that too, to put so much effort in long hours, but that's what motorsport's all about.
It certainly is. Now Green just working over Danny Smith. He's done a lot of laps around this place compared to Danny Smith.
And it's extra motivation when your team put in the hard yards. Drivers get out there and they say, I really need to pay these guys back with a great result, and Green is pushing exceptionally hard at the moment.
Track's got different racing lines on it right now. You see the guys running the top, you see them running the bottom, they're running the middle. That's the best thing about sprint car racing, is you can always put the car on a different part of the racetrack.
Tatnell doesn't care what line he takes as long as he's out in front. Dumsney tries to find a way past the 4 machine, pushing ever so hard on Green.
Yeah, Brooke Tatnell doing a great job out in front. In second place is Robbie Farr. Dillon back there in third, and Dillon's doing a great job, just a budget racer, but certainly knows how to drive a sprint car.
The 21 car up in the mix as well. That's Pittman trying to find his way up past Green. Green holding the line at the moment.
Yeah, Green having a great battle with Max Dumsney once again. Now Dumsney closes the door, dives back to the bottom, then washes up coming out of the turn, and that gives Green that little bit of a run, but couldn't quite get it done.
And Dumsney's going, why did I have to get a very motivated Green, who's under pressure from Pittman now? Slams the door on him and goes again on Dumsney. What a great three-way dice this is.
Yeah, it certainly is. 3 wide they that were that time down round the back straight, so it really just shows how fast this racetrack is. Jason Johnson wants a piece of the action now as well.
Pittman got a little bit wide, and that brings him from attacker to defender all of a sudden. Look at this.
Well, you remember what happened to Jason Johnson at the start of the race. He started off the front row, but spun the car with a bit of a helping hand. He's weaving his way back through the traffic now.
It's turned into a 5-horse war as Dumsney has got plenty of work to do as well. Looks like they've all backed out of the accelerator.
Yeah, something on the car's either gone upside down or stopped on the racetrack. Not sure what the reason is. There it is. Matty Eagle in the Forklift Australia, South Australia, number 29. So the race resumes with Brooke Tatnell, followed by Robbie Farr, Luke Dillon, Stephen Lyons, Max Dumsney, Danny Smith, all going at it.
I was about to say, gave them a little bit of time to settle down and work out what positions they were in, and Green just goes bang on the accelerator, picks up one off the restart. Well, he had a shocking previous round, but the second week of Speed Week is giving him plenty to think about.
Yeah, certainly is. He's sitting up in that seat and driving it hard. But look at Jason Johnson. What a comeback drive this is after having that shocking start to the feature race, having to go to the tail, and now he's back up in the top 10. So he's just got past his fellow countryman in Danny Smith as Johnson. Johnson in the Superlock Jim Beam number 5. Danny Smith working around on the bottom side in the United Financial Services number 4. Stephen Lyons just in front of them in the 45 car. Now Lyons is just a young bloke really learning the craft, and he's got great support from Dave Challens from Camden Neon Signs.
Great little dice going on, isn't it? neither driver knows where's the quick line. Well, now look at that. Straight down the inside, almost a touch of wheels. You don't back out of it, do you?
No, you can't. You've just got to keep the foot into it. That's one thing, that the big difference between the Australian and the American drivers. The American drivers do not hesitate. Some Australian drivers do.
Hesitate, as you say, and you don't overtake.
Exactly. So now Johnson gets in underneath lines. That's got to put Johnson up into about 5th position right now. This is an absolute Superman drive. The Superman, Jim Beam, Superlock Superman. He is. He's amazing the way Jason Johnson just gets that car working.
Well, I don't know how many supers you got in there, but he is a Cape Crusader. He's pushing very hard at the moment.
Oh, now Lyons is having a great battle with Danny Smith. There's Trevor Green doing a good job. Just in front of him is Max Dumpton. Now remember, these two guys have gone at this whole feature race so far.
And there's been nothing between them. Each time one of them gains the upper hand, and the other competitor is able to close in and keep them both very, very honest. This is going to be a great dice, I suspect, right down to the checkered flag.
Yeah, exactly right. And a great crowd here at Murray Bridge once again. Now Pittman trying to work in underneath lines now.
Lines with plenty of work to do. Pittman's been up and down through the standings, hasn't he, throughout this race, pushing very hard.
It's amazing the different lines that these guys are taking. I'm not talking about Stephen lines right now, but the way they just drift up towards the wall coming out of the turns. We're on our last lap for Brooke Tatnall out in front. Robbie Farr. There's Tatnall coming out of the final turn, getting the checkered flags, takes out the second round of Speed Week with Robbie Farr home in second spot. Great result for him. Tatnall, just a man on a mission.
Confirmation of the results. That will give Tatnall 150 points at the end of this round over Farr in second. Dillon and Dumsey round out the top 4.
A good drive by Jason Johnson to fight his way back to 6th.
Brooke, nice drive. Tough night with the track, but you really were on it from the word go. Tell us a bit about how you found it tonight.
I mean, once the racetrack was starting slicking off, that's one thing about this place. It's got to slicken off and get a hot 2-lane groove, and you know, that's what we had tonight. I think it was good racing for the race fans. The biggest thing for us, we got a little bit of an advantage over, you know, we don't have an advantage over Ferrari or Max or the Americans on this sort of racetrack, but you know, guys like Luke Dillon that, you know, did an awesome job and don't get to race every night in, night out on this sort of stuff. But yeah, once again, you know, this sport's proved that this is the greatest form of motorsport, and that's sprint car racing.
That will give Tatnall 150 points at the end of this round over Farr in second. Dillon and Dumsey round out the top 4. We'll be back with more action of the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars right after this break.
Well, joining me now from Danville, Indiana, is Danny Smith, perennial tourist of Australia. It's about your 14th tour.
I've missed 6 years since 1982, so it probably works out 22 or 3. So, yeah, we've been coming a lot of years.
Of course, you competed in the first World Series that we ever had here in Australia, and then you competed a few. Your best finish was a 2nd and 2/3.
Yeah, we come close to winning that year. We had a flat tire on the final night, which probably cost us the championship. But this year we've only run half of them, so points aren't an issue.
How many more years do we see Danny Smith coming to Australia?
I don't know. We just take it a year at a time, as long as we have fun. And it just costs so much to do it. That's the biggest problem right now, is getting the dollars together to bring a car over. It just costs way too much for the money we run for.
Of course, you've won the Warrnambool Classic 6 times. Are you hanging around Australia to go the Classic once again?
Yeah, that was the main reason for coming over. Most of my sponsors are from the Warrnambool or surrounding area, so hopefully we can win it for them.
Well, Danny Smith, we certainly wish you the best of luck.
All right, thank you.
Back at Mount Gambier, this is Heat 1, the 3rd round of Speed Week. And Stu, plenty of action here. Rollovers and crashes galore.
Yeah, that was Jason Loveday that went upside down there big time. That Jason Johnson weaving his way through, and Trevor Green took out Heat 1. Heat 2 went this way.
Brooke Tatnall pushing hard through the field. Oh, plenty of dicing going on and lots of contact as well.
Yeah, Ryan Farrell lost out there with just the contact the back of Johnny Vogel's. Heat 3 now. Oh, as we look as the dairy farmer Rankin hits the wall.
Yeah, he said after the event that he was utterly disappointed. Action continued at the front of the field though.
Exactly right, and boom boom on that one, Boydo. Nice work. There's Matty Brown, the Northern Territory 14 car. Good result for Gessner. Heat 4 went this way. Alan Woods, the big Queenslander. Oh, Loveday still having troubles with that 7 car. There's Grant Anderson in the 37, the Baghdad Bullet. Foster chassis, pretty much the only Foster chassis now getting around. Greg Foster builds them down in Victoria.
Heat 5 was next out on the field.
And Cameron Gessner, the big lanky Queenslander, had a first heat win, and he starts off the front row again in this one. Dumsney, though, still in the back of the field, so Gessner took that one out. In the final heat of the night, Glenn Sutherland had a great start off the front row, and Brooke Tatnall weaving his way through, trying to get underneath Dylan, did it nicely, and Glenn Sutherland took out the final heat.
There's plenty of action in the C main as well. We thought we'd bring you some of the highlighted action out of that one. Plenty of overtaking manoeuvres going on throughout this race.
Yeah, the man that does a good job here and pulling big wheel stands is Scotty Milling out of Western Australia in the Totally Workwear number 25.
And it was Stephen Caruso that went on to win the C main over Justin Sloan. The B main filled with action as well.
Yeah, Ryan Farrell in the Victory Lane race gear number 88 car. There's Darren Molyneux, the Warrnambool driver. Oh, spins the car. Just got contact from someone as they went past. Now, Dylan and Jamie Veal having a good battle. Oh, Big Al Woods, the big banana bender in 28, doing some victory spins, but that wasn't for the victory, though, because that went to Ryan Farrell.
But Matt Eagle and Trevor Green start off the front row for the A main. Then we got Johnson, Anderson, Farr and Murcott rounding out the front three rows.
Yeah, Max Dumsney once again in the middle part of the field, so he's got a lot of work to do. Fantastic crowds follow this Wanderless World Series Sprint Cars, and Matt Eagle gets the jump over Green. Now Green fighting back on the outside. There's Robbie Farr, Brooke Tatnall. Red light on. Upside down is Peter Lack again. It's been a torrid year for this Queenslander.
Pittman involved in that in the 21 car as well. He's sustained damage. Restart back under green conditions.
And that's what's happened to Trevor Green. He is green and fast. He's pulled away from Eagle that time. So Trevor Green, can he get another feature win?
He's been pushing hard right across this round and is deserving of a result. You've got to say that.
Yeah, beautiful track conditions here. The crew down. Oh, as Danny Reedy spins.
Robbie Farr did a great job to try and avoid that. Unfortunately for some, they missed.
Yeah, Ryan Farrell got caught up in it. As we have a look at it now, Reedy spins. Dumsney lucky to miss. Farrell gets caught up. McFadden, Vogels, and also Cobby.
Back to a restart. Green leads them away.
Jason Johnson back there in third spot. Eagles in second. Grant Anderson in fourth. David Murcott following him. Then Robbie Farr, Brooke Tatnall. Now noticing Brooke Tatnall, he's running on a higher part of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2, but switches to the bottom in 3 and 4.
Good racing there from Tatnall. Sneaks up the inside. Does he get the overtaking manoeuvre done? Not yet, but you just get the feeling it's a matter of time.
Yeah, Tatnall knows the way to certainly get past drivers. Grant Anderson having a great battle there with Jason Johnson. Trevor Green, though, he is flying out in front, and Matt Eagle in second.
Jason Johnson with plenty to prove here this round. He's pushing pretty hard up front.
Danny Smith now having a big look in underneath Robbie Farr.
Robbie had to run a little bit wide there. As it cost him time? Yes, it has. He loses a spot.
These two blokes are actually teammates many, many years ago.
They ain't now.
No, they're not now, but they were many years ago underneath the Farr Motorsport banner. So Eagle still in second spot, doing a great job. Great result for him and his sponsors out there circulating around. There's Tatnall in third spot, weaving his way through.
Car dancing around on the circuit just a little bit as he tries to pick up more momentum and work his way forward.
Johnny Vogel's there, the Victorian, the SRA Sprint Car champion, circulating around doing a nice job as well. Now, Trevor Green, has he got a problem here? Is he slowing down? The field really starting to back up, and they're really on the rear nerf bar of Trevor Green.
Well, that'll be a big shame because he's had such an outstanding round, but looks like he's been able to hold off this fierce battle right behind as they all try and investigate different lines around this circuit.
Yeah, Jason Johnson's just found a way to get past these guys all running on the bottom side of the racetrack. He got round Eagle. Now he's going to set up for the big manoeuvre around the top side of Trevor Green in turn 1 and 2. Couldn't quite get it done that time. Now, he dives back to the bottom in 3 and 4, so he knows he's got a fast car on the top side in 1 and 2, where Green is just running the bottom. This time, can he get it done?
He's very slow through the turns, isn't he? And it's cost him. Look at that. Ooh, great go around the outside. Picks up another spot. He'd be delighted with such a classical overtaking manoeuvre.
Especially for that first position spot. He's just done an awesome job as Jason Johnson now. He's that fast in turn 1 and 2. He's pulling away from Trevor Green, but once again, ducks to the bottom in 3 and 4.
Yeah, still of the belief that Green's got some sort of problem. He's just really slow through the turns. He's got horsepower in a straight line. And look at Johnson, he's just bolting away.
Yeah, the way the track is right now, Boydo, these guys are really backing off in the middle part of in the turns and slowing the car down. But Jason Johnson now, you just see how fast he is. He's pulling away from everybody else in the field.
Say, can't you see anybody behind me? I can't. That's what Johnson's saying. He's got a commanding lead.
Dumsney now trying to work Robbie Farr over. Farr's trying to work Danny Smith over.
Very difficult, isn't it? You can't attack because you've got to defend, and you can't sit there because you're a sitting duck if you do.
Exactly right. Grant Anderson back there in 4th spot. Now Dumsney trying something different. Went a little higher on the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. Does the same in 1 and 2. Maybe he's realised that's how Jason Johnson's got out in front. Now Farr just closes the door.
He had to. He had to. He was compromised. You know, that's the thing. He was compromised, and this is it. This is what World Series Sprint Car Racing is all about, being able to get past a competitor and still not let anyone past you. Look at that. Very forceful up the inside. They may have even touched. In fact, I'm sure they did.
Oh, Robbie Farr, who knows how to get past. He did. He needed to pick up that position, and he did. I'm quite sure Danny Smith won't be that happy about it, but he'll certainly get his elbows up and try and run him back down.
Well, he's got another opportunity to defend because he's got another competitor sitting right behind. As the checkered flag comes out for Jason Johnson, he takes the win in the A main.
So Jason Johnson just continues his dominance here right now. Trevor Greenholm in 2nd. Great result for Matty Eagle. Grant Anderson in 4th. Max Dumsney back there in 12th. Farrell in 13th. Pittman way back in 16th. Wow, what a result, though, for Jason Johnson and the Superlock Jim Beam number 5 team.
Jason, impressive run out there, mate. You really did showed the pack where to go. Tell us a bit about how you found it.
Well, actually, just working with the crew, we timed in real well, and what that does, it kind of takes a little bit of stress off of you, and it allows you to kind of search around with setups and work throughout the night. And we kind of changed the car around for both sets of heat races. We changed the car around there again for the dash, and come feature time, we had a pretty good feel of which direction we needed to go. It was just kind of shooting in the dark to see if it'd work or not. And obviously, it just paid off. And I mean, crew guys are unsung heroes here, and they did an excellent job tonight.
And this is the way the championship looks at the end of round 10. Tatnall out in front over Max Dumsney and Robbie Farr. That wraps up all the action of the sprint cars for this program, but don't go away. Coming up after the break, the Club Marine Southern 80 from Echuca.
Wanless World Series Sprint Cars, a grueling championship trail. It's been part of the Australian Speedway landscape since 1987. Each November, a band of race-hardened sprint car chauffeurs begin crisscrossing the nation in their quest to win the coveted 15-round showdown. Along the championship trail, at the capital city venues, as well as the leading provincial circuits, the contracted drivers encounter stiff competition from plenty of home track heroes. With the curtain about to go up on the 22nd edition of Wanless World Series, meet 2 drivers who have dominated the title since its inception. 36-year-old Brooke Tatnall, who has won the crown 6 times and is the defending champion. Arch rival Max Dumsney, the 48-year-old veteran who has claimed the series on 7 occasions. When you consider Brooke's dad George won the first 2 series, that means the Tatnalls and Max Dumsney have between them 15 of the 21 titles. Joining the fray again this summer is Robbie Farr, the 2004 Australian Sprint Car champion. He'll be driving for Barry Waldron's East Coast Pipeline team. Also aboard the travelling caravan, Queenslander Peter Lack in the G&W JI car. Lack stunned many last season when he outdrove Brooke Tatnall to win the Kalgoorlie round. South Australia will be represented by Ricky Maiolo in the TRG Transport Oval Track Imports Eagle. Also from South Australia in the Adrad Radiators entry, Trevor Green, the 37-year-old former motocross star who finished 4th in last year's World Series. Once again this year, some of America's best sprint car talent will compete in select rounds, including the world's current #1, Donnie Schatz from North Dakota, and World Series regular Jason Johnson in the Disbury family Superlock entry. For the uninitiated, sprint cars are purpose-built open-wheel race cars, Speedway's equivalent of Formula One. They're powered by 410 cubic inch engines running on methanol fuel, producing 850 plus horsepower. The distinctive aluminium top wing is there to provide downforce to help keep all that power on the track.
We are down to Avalon Raceway for Wanderlust World Series Sprint Car action, round 11. Let's take a look at the highlights of the heat, Stu. Heat 1 went this way.
Brett Milburn got a great start on the pole side, and look at the contact between Stephen Lyons and Johnny Vogels. Vogels upside down big time.
You give him at least 8.3 on that. Heat 2 was filled with action as well.
Yeah, sure was. Matty Reid runs over the rear of Max Dumsney's car. He went upside down as well, but Ryan Farrell took out the win.
Down to Heat 3, plenty of action as we see throughout all of these heats in actual fact.
Yeah, Peter Lack got a great start off the inside of the second row. That's him in the yellow car and just checked out. Now, that's him certainly fighting his way around the racetrack, and he took out heat number 3.
You're out in front, the checkered flag's easy to get to. Down to the next heat on the program, Heat 4.
Yeah, Ryan Farrell started on pole and just pulled away from everybody, and just so convincing win for Ryan Farrell. Max Dumsney doing a fair bit of work there, so Farrell took another good win.
Speaking of winning ways, we come to Heat 5 on the program, and Milburn putting in another good effort.
Yeah, he certainly has it, but the problem is, though, when you start from the front, it means that you're bad time trial. Timmy Morse, that is the ex-Australian modified Australian champion, had a tough time. But taking that heat out was Milburn.
Heat 6 had some big names in it. Jason Johnson, Green, McFadden and Reedy as well.
Yeah, Trevor Green starting way down the back of the pack as we've got a car spun, and just everybody and anyone's involved in that one. So took a few cars out. Good move by Grant Anderson underneath Big Al Woods, but Jason Johnson just took this one underneath his arm, and Green come from the back to run second.
Now to the highlights of the B main final, and you can see plenty of push and shove going on in this one too.
Yeah, Matty Brown hit the outside wall, and now looks like Scotty Milling went through the infield there. Grant Anderson took out the B main.
Sprint car's a piece of tubular steel that you wrap your legs around a motor, and it's got 900 horsepower, and you hang on for Christ. The motors are generally, 850, 900 horsepower, developing, the 680, 690 foot-pounds of torque. Some engines are more, some are less, and it's just a general drive-through. There's no clutch. It's just an in-out gear in the differential, and then you just lock them in and get pushed away. So there's, the only different changes or gear changes we do is in the quick change gear set if we want to get the RPM right to suit the track. Speeds generally, like they average 120, 130 kilometres an hour on the smaller tracks, and 150, 160 on the bigger tracks. Depending on what track you're going to. Some are even more than that on the higher bank tracks in the US.
So in the heat of battle, how do you react when there's a coming together?
Yeah, it's a hard one. Depends on how deliberate it was, or whether it was deliberate. The other night was just a racing incident. Things happen. The track was skatey, everything was slippery, and we avoided a car and then got cleaned up from behind. So you got, who do you blame? There is no blame. You just got to move on.
So how do you sum up driving in the World Series Sprint Cars?
Adrenaline's fun, fast, furious, awesome.
And down to the feature event of the night, the A main, round 11 of the Wanderlust World Series Sprint Cars. Starting off pole position, Robbie Farr. We've got Tatnell starting out of 4th, Green out of 5th, Reed out of 6th, and Farrell rounds out the top 8. Set for a start.
Yeah, we're Green here at Avalon Raceway in Geelong, and a bumper crowd here at Avalon. I don't know what it is about the Victorian fans. It doesn't matter what it is, they turn up in droves, and we've got a car upside down already.
And that's why they come out, to see that sort of action.
And the man it was starting out of position 2, Johnny Vogel. So not a way to start as we go Green once again.
Yeah, the restart gets underway. Side-by-side action as they try and sort themselves out on this opening lap. The take 2, if you like, of this. There's plenty of battles going on throughout the field as well. Important to try and pick up spots on these opening laps when you've got a distinct advantage.
Yeah, exactly right there, Boydo, and these guys are certainly running around on the bottom side of the racetrack. Track's still too wide. You can run up, put the car up 3/4 of the way up the racetrack, as we see Jason Johnson doing that coming from deep in the pack. Robbie Farr and Brooke Tatnell are locking horns out in front, as we see on the screen now.
Yeah, Tatnell sitting right behind, gets a good run as he tries to close in on Farr. Still plenty of dicing for minor spots back through the field, and it's important too because these are all points.
Yeah, exactly right. Every car you pass, it means points towards the championship. Now, Jason Johnson was having a battle back there, but look at Dumsney now, Stephen Lyons, and then you got Darren Pittman in the mix as well.
I don't know if Dumsney likes battles, but gee, he knows how to find one or two, doesn't he?
He sure does. Grew up about 2.5 hours away from this racetrack, did Max Dumsney at Nullawarre. Now Stephen Lyons from Mount Gambier in the Camden Neon Signs, number 45, J&J.
Plenty of laps to go in this one, and Stu, the track will change throughout this race, and those that are able to find a better setup towards the end of the race are going to be the ones that obviously are going to, take out the top spot.
Yeah, exactly right. And what the drivers and the crew chiefs do, they actually have a chat about it, whether they want to set the car up for the start of the race or later on, because obviously the tyres stuff like that happens, and then obviously the way the car sits on the racetrack, it might tighten up a little bit because there is componentry on these cars where they like different motorsports where you can just do a bit of a turn here or there, and it totally changes the way the car handles.
Yeah, and it's all about determining whether you want to do it in the early part of the race or the latter. And Pittman wants to get on with it now. He's pushing very hard for an overtaking manoeuvre there.
Yeah, Jason Johnson still running around the top side, back in the pack. Peter Lack down there with him as well. So we're concentrating back in further in the pack than our lead guys right at the moment. And Danny Smith once again, he's circulating around, having a great battle there with Luke Dillon.
Oh, a touch too. There was definitely a touch in that.
James McFadden wants to get in there as well. Like, look at the crowd there, Boydo. They're packed in like sardines.
Yeah, they're good Victorians when it comes to, supporting the sport. Well, basically, they'd go out and watch two cockroaches race up a wall. And why not? They've got such good venues for all types of sport across Victoria. And when you get action like this, why wouldn't you want to be here?
Yeah, so the car's coming through turns 3 and 4. Robbie Farr still our race leader. Brooke Tatnell back in second.
I tell you what, we can go back to any other round throughout the year, and it's pretty much status quo, isn't it? Farr and Tatnell doing battle each and every time they get out there. It's great racing action.
Yeah, Jamie Veal here having a great battle with Ryan Farrell. Veal in the 35 car, the SWI engineering car out of Warrnambool. Farrell out of Perth in Western Australia, driving the Matt Eastham-owned Victory Lane race gear number 88 car. There's Danny Smith working the top side on Cameron Gessner.
Yeah, does he get round? No, holds station at the moment. But you can see there's some serious pressure coming on. Just needs to get a good run out of one of these turns and he'll be in front. Pittman! Oh, how close was that?
Anderson just stuck the nose in there, and he knows he's there, and he's going to probably get a nice passing manoeuvre here, but Pittman squeezes him down the racetrack, and then Anderson pushes him up the racetrack and gets the position, but Pittman still fighting back on the outside.
There's an enormous amount of trust that you have to put in your fellow competitors, and that's why sometimes when we see they do come together, tensions can get a little bit high because you don't get a second chance. Wheels touch, somebody's going over.
Yeah, exactly right there, Boydo, and these guys do respect each other out on the racetrack, and yeah, sometimes it happens and they do go upside down. Great to see Brett Milburn in the Better Bin Hire car, doing a great job, and Brett quite a character. So Smith, there's Gessner in the Metal Corp, number 83, out of Queensland. Drove for his family for quite a few years now, driving for another team out of Queensland. So good to see Cam back on the road. As Peter Lack uses a lot on the racetrack there and the infield. Robbie Farr still our race leader. There's Matty Reid sliding past as well. Stephen Lyons, Max Dumsney. They've had a race-long battle so far.
And Tatnell not letting Farr get away. He's staying in check with him as you would expect. As Max Dumsney tries to find his way forward and pick up more points. Gee, he's sitting okay when you look at the series standings, but every time we see him, he seems to be back in 5th or 6th, and gee, he'd love to be a couple more spots more forward.
Oh, exactly right, and that's the thing. You'd rather be up that pointy end of the field and have those points just ticking over each time and getting those extra points on these guys that are in front of him, and he's just, done that. Got a nice move on the inside of Stephen Lyons. Now, Trevor Green and his good mate Ryan Farrell, these two blokes are great friends off the racetrack, but right now, they're the biggest enemies. Now, Green just pulls a nice job on Farrell, and I guarantee you Ryan Farrell will be sitting in that car right now and going, I've got to get back by him, I've got to be able to brag to him later.
I've got you, you owe me a beer. That's the way it goes. Dumsney now comes into this battle too. Farr almost gets a rear wheel clip as he slams the door that time round.
Yeah, now Farr's actually just put Jason Johnson down a lap, and that's surprising. So Johnson's in the A main, but struggling with the car. Tatnall puts him a lap down as well. So our two leaders, or our leader, Robbie Farr, and Brooke Tatnall, who's in second spot, is really trying to run him down.
Over the number of laps that these guys race, I could think of nothing worse than to be out there in a car that wasn't performing the way you'd want it to. It'd just be such a long race.
Yeah, well,
Speaking of which...
Yeah, Johnson's just pulled to the infield, and that just says it all right there. And then Jamie Veal running in third spot, doing an absolute fantastic job. Has raced around Avalon Speedway for many, many times now, but great to see him in third spot at the moment. There's Robbie Farr, our race leader.
And he's up on lap traffic too, and we've seen in previous rounds that can be a major issue. Oh, speaking of traffic, there you go. Classic example of what I was saying. Got past, but probably was a bit aggressive in slamming the door.
Yeah, exactly. So there is Dumsney now getting past Milburn. Trevor Green. Evergreen, always Trevor Green. He is certainly one of the characters. Now Tatnall all over the back of Robbie Farr.
And that's why he was aggressive in the overtaking manoeuvre, because Tatnall was closing in, looming up, and that's the last thing you want. A determined Tatnall sitting right behind you. Speaking of which, bit of push and shove, almost like dodgem cars.
Yeah, Danny Smith's in an Aussie sandwich now. He's got Stephen Lyons in front of him and James McFadden behind him. The other American, there's Pittman. We lost Johnson. He's pulled to the infield. So Darren Pittman driving the Reeve Cruck-owned Titan Garages and Carports number 21.
Looks like his car's coming on pretty strong too as Dumsney gets an overtaking manoeuvre. That car of Pittman's that time around seemed to be a whole lot smoother under acceleration, unlike these two.
And they're having a big old dogfight, these two, Grant Anderson and Ryan Farrell. Anderson in the 37 and Farrell in the purple 88.
And while it's spectacular, that allows the opposition in front of you to get further and further away because you're compromising each other with regard to terminal speed.
You're not wrong there, Boydo. So Lyons working the bottom side quite well. Now Dumsney's obviously found something. He's passed a couple of cars these last couple of laps. Now McFadden still hasn't got past Danny Smith, and I can tell you now, Danny Smith is making that car as wide as possible.
Look at him, absolutely going for it. Hell for leather. And now pressure being put on from behind as well. Stands it up on the rear wheels as he puts the power down, and I suppose a bit of frustration creeping in there.
Yeah, probably is, and that's just thinking of one thing there. Danny Smith racing against someone like James McFadden. Danny Smith was driving a race car before James McFadden was even born. So it's certainly an honour for James McFadden to be running wheel-to-wheel with Danny Smith. Last lap now for Robbie Farr, our race leader in the East Coast Pipeline. Number 7, J&J. Brooke Tatnall still in second spot. Tatnall working the top side. Farr's on the bottom. Robbie Farr, though, hangs on and gets the checkers. Great result for the East Coast Pipeline team. They'll be smiling there in the pits. Brooke Tatnall home in second. Great result for Jamie Veal in third. Max Dumsney fourth. We go back through the pit field. Pittman back in ninth. Lyons in 10th. Danny Smith in 11th. And we remember what happened to the man that started on the front row. Johnny Bogles went upside down.
Second time in a row we see a photo finish between those two. Tatnall leads the series over Dumsney, and Farr in third spot. He's moved up one spot.
Congratulations, mate. Well done on another win for World Series Sprintcars.
Yeah, thanks, mate. It's good we sort of fought the car a little bit tonight. We got a handle on it there at the end. I probably didn't do real good laps the last 10, but we got away with it. That's the main thing.
That's right, mate. Who do you want to thank?
Oh, East Coast Pipeline Racing. I've got a really good race team around me, and that makes my job a lot easier. And me, Orcon, all our sponsors that help. We've got a really good team, and we enjoy racing, and occasionally we get to win one.
His name is legendary, his skills phenomenal, but what would you expect with a man by the name of Tatnall?
Been in sport my whole life. My dad was a Australian champion, a previous World Series champion, Australian speed car champion. So, yeah, I've grown up around work and been playing with these things since I was about 4 years old. But actually this year was 21 years of sprint car racing for me. We started on Boxing Day 1987 at the now defunct Liverpool Speedway, and still plugging away reasonably strong.
So who does a human legend regard as a hero of the sport?
Apart from my dad, my biggest childhood hero though was an American Sleepy Trip that used to race midgets. Used to come out here in the mid-70s, early 80s and race midgets around the country, but got to be very good friends with him, and still my childhood idol that I look up to, and still like a kid in a candy store when I get to talk to him.
Talking's not what he's known for, it's about the fight.
I mean, the longest rivalry we've got would be definitely with Max. The hardest rival I'd have would definitely be Fari. Mainly two different rivals. Max and I, in all the years we've raced, have barely ever banged wheels. Fari and I will bang wheels pretty much on a frequent occasion.
This man's a true racer.
I don't care where it is, whether Australia, America, New Zealand. As long as it's racing, you can get 2 and 3 wide. Yeah, that's all any sprint car driver or team or race fan can ask for.
So what do you need to be successful in this sport?
Reaction time, no brains, and a good car owner with deep pockets.
It's about being focused on the road ahead.
The biggest thing is I was always brought up, with my dad drumming stuff into my head that don't worry about the guy behind you. His job is to pass you. And when you get into heated battles, you know if you can unsettle a driver that he's more worried about blocking you, yeah, that's when you've got the guy beat. So you don't worry about what's behind you, just worry about what's in front.
Let's take a look at some of the highlights of the heats from round 12 here at Premier Speedway. And the World Series really puts on a great show. Well worth getting out to the track nice and early, because you can see these guys are fighting for championship points and a spot in the A main. You can see the intensity is on right from the get-go. Plenty of biff and barge out there. We'll be back with the A main from round 12 right after this.
Now, when you think of atmosphere, there is only one place in Australia, or maybe 4, but one definite cracker is this place right here. Look at this, turn number 1 and 2, Premier Speedway. In Warrnambool, there's nothing like a full house in this joint. Have a look at the track. It's a real cut, really hard bank track. We're absolutely wide open when you race around here. A guy called Mick Rowell once told me, Drew, if you're going to race here, you never lift off the gas. If you're going to lift off the gas, we're all going to go by you. That's the only way to approach this place. It freaks your mind out to be running straight down the wall here at something like 220 kilometres an hour and just turn the car. The thing will turn itself. Absolutely awesome.
John Vogels is a tough competitor and is prepared to mix it up on the track. But at round 11, not everything went his way.
We were there and we were trying, but I didn't give Robbie enough room and yeah, ended up in the fence, so that's how it goes.
Surprisingly, the rebuild wasn't that expensive.
Yeah, no worries. We didn't do a lot of damage in the final and at Avalon, and yeah, we put it all back together and we're ready to go again.
Well, the piggy bank might be a little bit low, but he does have new tyres for this weekend.
Yeah, that's all we've got left really, so we wrecked a lot of stuff over the weekend, so yeah, now we're right to go again.
Round 12 of the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars, and we're baked in lights as we get ready for the A main. Let's take a look at your grid. It's an American out in front in Johnson. Anderson starts alongside, then Murcott Eagle as we go back to Dumsney, who starts out of position 7. We are green.
The quick way around this place, Boydo, is the top side if you can get that car up against the wall, but sometimes on the bottom side it's just that fast. These cars circulate around here in just over 10 seconds.
It's difficult, isn't it? If you run so close to the wall, you run the risk of just sliding a little bit too far and tagging it. That means your night's over. And look at them all pushing each other as they try and sort themselves out in these opening laps.
It's a high banked bull ring, this place here down at Warrnambool Premier Speedway. Sungold Stadium as it is now known, and these guys really, a lot of these cars are very, very tight as they're coming out of the turns, and you can see the way the cars are handled. Look at Farrell. He loves this place. He has gone quick time here numerous times. He loves these high-speed places.
Yeah, you're right. Plenty of cars overcorrecting on the exit of the turns. They're starting to sort themselves out now and get a feel for it. Tatnall and Dumsney doing battle.
Max Dumsney owns this place. That big hill in turn 4, that only got erected there a couple of seasons ago, and the locals have actually named it Mount Max.
Mount Max. Well, getting past Mount Max is going to be a challenge and a half in this final.
Jason Johnson doing a great job out in front now. The Superlock, Jim Beam number 5. Got Tim Rankin hot on his tail though right now. There's Grant Anderson. He's having a super season so far as Grant Anderson. Second generation sprint car driver. Father David was one of the first drivers ever out on Wanderless World Series Sprint Cars.
Isn't that a great tradition? And so many of the drivers have family traditions in this series, and that's what's great. You know, you get the second and third generation people coming through.
You can see how smooth the racetrack is right now too, Boydo, and that helps these guys through the turns. You want a little bit of a cushion up on the top side of the racetrack to be able to get that right rear up against it. Now the yellow lights come on.
Johnson's backed right out.
So we've got a car stopped here. Tim Rankin it is, the dairy farmer. Just lives about 20 minutes down the road.
Is that another utter shocker?
Correct. So Johnson is our race leader. Grant Anderson in second. Matt Eagle back there in third.
That's really hurt Johnson too, because he pulled out a commanding lead, and now he falls back into the clutches of fellow competitors. Dumsney and Tatnell still in a big battle as well.
Oh, wow. Look at Luke Dillon now spinning the 81 car in turn 4. Slow-mo replay. It's just so easy to do. These cars turn on a dime as well.
Yeah, and the traffic having to go either side behind to try and find a way past and not get caught up in somebody else's issue, especially when they come back out across the circuit. Back to Tatnell, working on Max Dumsney. Dumsney still holding down his own at the moment, and over.
Goes Big Al Woods. Now we'll have a replay of this to show you just exactly what happened. You can see him moving around. Now the car just goes in, gets over on the right rear, and then once you try and overcorrect it, and the boys are obviously on the brakes, and then those big tyres just take off, and obviously the top wing just protects the driver as well. Restart. Jason Johnson's our race leader. Grant Anderson in second.
Johnson gets a great start, doesn't he? Already 3 or 4 car lengths before they even get half a lap completed.
Yeah, David Murcott in behind him. Max Dumsney, Robbie Farr, Brooke Tatnell. 3 of the absolute superstars of sprint car racing are having a great battle. Now Eagle was currently sitting in third position, just whacked the wall and has lost a ton of positions.
It's a shame. He's had a strong couple of rounds, Eagle, and that's not the way he'd like to finish this A-main.
So we're looking now on screen. We've got Ryan Farrell, Robbie Farr having a good battle still. So keep saying it, but everywhere you look on the speedway, every time you go to a racetrack, speedway, sprint car racing, doesn't matter what it is, you don't know where to look because there's always action going on.
And that's what we love about it. That's why, speaking of which, we've still got further issues. Looks like he was able to slow the car down and all of a sudden got back on the gas.
Yeah, Tim Rankin in the Total Dairy Services number 47. Give the wall a little bit of a kiss, so that's another restart. So Johnson gets another crack at it. That lets Grant Anderson have a go at Jason Johnson. David Murcott in behind him in third spot.
Johnson would be over this, wouldn't he?
Yep.
Every time he gets a bit of a lead, they round him back in. He'd have to start thinking about conservation of his machine.
Yeah, Dumsney sitting in behind them. Now Downing's car of David Murcott just got in underneath Anderson. Anderson drives back in underneath him in turn 4. Nice move by Grant Anderson. Back to second.
And extremely aggressive too. Fair call, mind you. I'm not having a go, but you saw that he dove down to the inside and was always going to slide wide. So it was good thinking on both drivers not to get tangled up there.
Oh, Robbie Farr's gone from the top to the bottom, trying to hold his position.
Oh, what a touch!
With McFadden.
McFadden won't be happy about that. He's collected the wall and he's out of this one.
He tagged it very heavily, and you'd suspect some of the rear-end componentry would be bent on that race car. I couldn't see him continuing on, and disappointing for James McFadden.
Johnson goes back to status quo. I'll lead them around, I'll try it again, and again I get 3 car lengths before the first turn.
It's not a bad thing when you can obviously have these stoppages and have a clear track. Obviously it takes a lot longer for the race to be run and done, but it gives him a clear track. He doesn't have to worry about lapping cars straight away, so you can usually tick over 5 or so laps. Normally after 5 laps you might get into traffic.
Trevor Green was a bit slow getting away, but manages to pick up that spot that he lost at the restart, and now tries to fight his way forward.
All yellow's on for Tim Morse. Has spun coming out of turn 4.
And Johnson slows them down again.
Yeah, let's do it all again. Now can inform you that Tim Rankin did pull to the infield. He's out of the event.
He'd be disappointed with that, but that's the name of the game. Once again, Johnson, great off the restart. Picks up 3 or 4 car lengths, so I suppose he wouldn't mind the fact that they're restarting so much, because he's obviously got that part of his driving technique nailed.
Certainly has. So there's Dillon now. Makes a nice move on the inside. Track conditions once again very, very slick on the bottom side. When I say slick, it's dry. There's not much grip there compared to up the top where it's still a little bit tacky. And the guys the guys can get that right rear and left rear in there and just get some drive out of the turns.
Tatnall having a big go at Max Dumsney that time round. He wants to get past. He's been trailing him for quite a few laps now, but hasn't been able to find a way past a very wily master behind the wheel of one of these machines.
Oh, nice slide job in front of Grant Anderson. Anderson's going to fight back down in turns 3 and 4. They're having a great battle, these two.
Action aplenty further back in the field too. There is your race leader as he comes up on lap traffic. Finally gets to taste a bit of lap traffic. He's been leading them on the restarts. Now he's got to start to work his way through the field. These two, Max Dumsney, who you're looking at, and right behind him, you've got Brooke Tatnall. Those two still caught up in an enthralling battle.
Eagle pull into the infield. Now Anderson puts Timmy Morse down a lap. Morse, a local Warrnambool boy, ex-Australian modified champion and multi-Australian modified champion and state title holder as well. Trying his hand at sprint cars and still learning the craft. Murcott circulating around in second spot in the Downing Brothers' own car out of Adelaide. Eagles' retirement, you'd have to suspect, was from contact earlier on in the race. Yeah, you'd suspect that'd be correct there, Boydo, exactly right. So there's Brooke Tatnall still trying to get past Max Dumsney. Can't quite get it done, but Jason Johnson's just owning this event right now. Oh, look at this lap traffic coming to play, and he's touched him. Dumsney goes around. Tatnall picks up the spot. That's not the way we wanted to see this battle end. Yeah, now I think what's happened here, Boydo, is second place car in David Murcott had spun, and Ian Thompson in the 32 car has checked up. So he's done that, and then Dumsney's that hot on him. He's that close. He had nowhere to go. So Dumsney, he'd be bitterly disappointed. Oh, that's just a real sorry way to see what was a great battle. I was going to say they've been lap after lap following each other, and it wasn't boring because they were all trying different lines, different ways to try and get past each other, but unfortunately contact has put Max Dumsney out of this one. Speaking of contact, high and just a bit of a scrape across the wall in back play there. Yeah, Luke Dillon, that's him in the 81 car, having a good battle here with Cameron Gessner. So Anderson, Grant Anderson, under pressure at the moment. He is. He's got Brooke Tatnall hot on his hammer. Tatnall's then got Ryan Farrell hot on his hammer. So Farrell, he just loves high-speed places like Warrnambool's Premier Speedway. Well, he lost a bit of time there, just got a little bit wide, a little bit early, and Tatnall was able to get a bit of breathing space, but you had the feeling that he had the measure of Tatnall, who goes straight past second, now moves up into second spot, and that was a result of contact with the wall from the 37. Yeah, Anderson's car just pushed up, right, and even in the front axle just doesn't look right now. It's just the way it's swaying across. There's something broken on that front axle of the car. Ryan Farrell's done the same, just tagged the wall in turn 4. Now, Bordeaux, just looking at the crowd there, like the big crowd there at Warrnambool's Premier Speedway, but they look rugged up. It might be cold down there. Well, you know what state it's in. You'd expect that. I've got to say, Anderson doing a great job. That car is all over the track, and he is managing to hang on to it. Let's hope he can finish the race, albeit down in the pecking order. Tatnall holding down second and trying to chase down our race leader in Jason Johnson, the American, out in front. Mate, I can tell you it gets very cold down there at Warrnambool. I've lived there for 25 years as Brett Milburn spins the car. Now Farrell giving someone the old hurry up that time round. Looks like Milburn may have been given a bit of a hand with that too, except for the restart. What can Tatnall do now on Johnson? Tries to stay with him, doesn't get the U-Butte start that he's been getting all this race so far. Still pulls out 2 car lengths, but Brooke Tatnall a bit wiser than most. Yeah, Anderson struggling with that car big time. Definitely something broken in the front axle of that car, the way it's handling. Almost collected far on his way through too, didn't he? Yeah, so Ryan Farrell moves up to 3rd spot now. So good result for Farrell in the Victory Lane race gear, Matt Eastermone, number 88 car. So you just got a feel for Grant Anderson. He had a strong race car and just tagged that wall and it's hurt him. So Johnson now, still our race leader. Tatnall, is he coming? You ask yourself what goes through a driver's mind when they're in a position like that. They know it's all gone out the door. This man closes the door very tight. Jason Johnson is coming around to take the checkered flag and another win on Australian soil. Yeah, Brooke Tatnall home in 2nd spot. Jason Johnson, he is an absolute special man to watch in a race car. Farrell home in 3rd. Robbie Farr 4th. Max Dumsney back to 6th. What a drive by him. Peter Lack in 10th. Tim Morse in 13th. and rounding out our field, Big Al Woods, who had that monster crash before.
And it was that contact that hurt Max Dumsney's weekend. He drops back to third in the series. Tatnall still in front. Robbie Farr is on a charge. He's worked his way up to second. There's a South Australian that's added some radical manoeuvres to this year's championship. His name is Trevor Green.
Yeah, it's been up and down, bit of a roller coaster though, Drew. A lot of 2 steps forward and 3 backwards, like over in Perth. We had just had all sort of weird stuff going on all year, but somehow I keep getting my way out of it.
Motivation is everything in this sport, and Green's team are on a bit of a high.
If you're running around 16th, 17th, you're not going anywhere, and then you've got something to worry about, I think. But I think, you know, we hit the car, got a good feel with the car, got a good feel with the shocks at the moment, and all the boys are working great, so we're all getting along well, we're having a good time, so, you know, it's pretty deep.
As we've seen right across the year, the competition in this class is very tough. So is there anything different between these cars that gives you the competitive edge?
Well, probably me and Brooke and Murcott, we run on the cools with the long radius rods. That's really the only major difference with these cars. Everyone's got the same motors, everyone's got the same cars. Actually, the motor we've been running the last 3 nights is an 8-year-old Brad Fur motor. Yeah, and this car here, this has been through a bit of hell as well over in California. We brought it back and we put that brand new car together for Adelaide, and that lasted 1 night. So we're back in the old dog, and it's loving it. Cooley's given us another car to take with us on for the rest of the World Series, and we'll pick up a new one when we come back for the Classic.
And for this round, it's not only old toys he has to play with, but old rivals as well. Max Dumsney, his most feared rival.
Well, Max, he's like a turd that won't flush. He just keeps coming back, mate. You just can't get rid of him. You think you got him done, and he just comes back all the time. You just go, what the hell is going on? Like at Murray Bridge, I tried that many times to pass him, and he just won't go away. Then, then when you're in front of him, here he is again. Like, just get with you. Like, god damn, he is just one hell of a race car driver, and he's been doing it for so many years, and he's just not slowing up, mate.
So now it comes down to what he can do out there on the circuit. We'll come back and find out right after this break. And welcome back wherever you might be watching to night 1 of round 13 of the Wanderlust World Series Sprint Cars here in Brisbane. Stu, let's take a look at the A-Main.
Yeah, Donny Shott's great to have him racing up there. Brooke Tatnall starting alongside him. James McFadden, Danny Smith, Mike Carver, also from the United States. They're driving for John Weatherall. So we look forward to this A-Main. And Donny Shott's is the world's best. And there he is in the pick and pay list. Rush Motorsport, number 2, J&J.
He got out in front and held a commanding lead in the early part of the race. There was nothing but daylight right behind him. Plenty of action going on. Pittman rolling it over, and 2 cars doing desperate manoeuvres to try and avoid the clash, one of them being Miolo.
And Todd Wanderlust being the other driver. So restart time, and these guys just frantic pace out in front. Peter Thorley back there in the 51 car, but no one has anything for Donny Shots.
Yeah, he just charges away, doesn't he? He's just got that car really hooked up this weekend.
Yeah, he has. He's got his normal crew that he has out here in Australia crewing for him. They're out of the Rush Motorsport stable, and those guys know their way around a race car very, very nicely. And Donny Shots asks them to do what he wants on the car, and then Donny will put his different shocks on it and stuff like that, and he knows how to set up a race car.
Yeah, it's always a good synergy between a driver and a crew, and especially with the engineers, you've got to have a balance of between telling them how to do their job and letting them do their job.
Great pictures just then. You can see the right rear, the smoke coming off the tyres, so it's really a track that's burning up tyres at the moment, but Shots is just a class above everybody else and takes out the feature win.
Brooke Tatnall finishes in second spot as we confirm your results. McFadden in third. Smith rounds out the top 4. Trevor Green having a better run this weekend, finishes in 6th. Robbie Farr in 11th. Iolo holds on for 13th after problems early. Darren Pittman's returning to Australia to take on our best, and he's not taking this challenge very lightly at all.
Built a new one yesterday, different motor, so just starting it up. They don't give us a lot of time when we go to the infield to get ready for hot laps, so just wanted to make sure we were ready before we went down there.
He says preparation is everything.
Yeah, it's a new motor, new car, so just make sure we have no leaks and that's ready to go so we don't waste any hot lap time.
So how much did that set him back?
They're around 45 grand US, so whatever that converts out to, yeah.
Round 13 of the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars here at Brisbane International Speedway. We are on night 2 of a 2-night program. Let's take a look at the highlights of the A-Main.
Yeah, Brooke Tatnell starting on pole, and his outside, Brett Kading, the Californian king out of California, and he knows how to stand on the gas. Oh, as does Tatnell. How was that wheel stand, Boydo?
Well, Tatnell may not have got the start, but he did pick up the technical points, unlike this pilot.
Yeah, Alan Woods just bicycled the car through the turns and just gone up onto the concrete wall. Keeps the car going.
Love how he stood on the gas there and didn't back out.
Yeah, exactly right. So as we watch, oh no, Andrew Shirley in the Oztec patio and roofing number 25. Maxim just hits the cushion, went in too hot, and that ended up him going upside down with a little bit of front end damage.
I love all the cars behind diving for position, not trying to get caught up in this. The restart happened and it was still Tatnell out in front.
Yeah, Brooke started off so well in this feature event, but the thing about this feature event that happened was that it was over 50 laps, and Donnie Schatz is just a master when it comes to long races, and Brooke Tatnell's out in front, but Danny Smith weaving his way through the field.
Saw Pittman pick up a few spots as Max Dumsney tries to find his way forward. No luck here for the 4 car.
Yeah, Smith goes to the infield. There's McFadden. Good to see Mike Carver down racing as well. Tatnell, track is just so juiced up right now. He's still pulling wheel stands coming out of the turns.
And that's because it's grippy, yes?
Yeah, exactly right. Now, Donnie Schatz is in the lead now. He's got past Tatnell. And believe it or not, the way Schatz is going, he's passed nearly the entire field. He is a man on a mission tonight in the Rush Motorsports pick and pay list, number 2 J&J.
He's doing an outstanding job, and to be able to do that to somebody like Tatnell is no mean feat. He did a good job to get up in front of Tatnell, but Schatz takes it out over Keating, Tatnell, Smith and Max Dumsney rounds out the top 5. And it came down to a blockbuster in round 15, a 2-night program here at Parramatta City Speedway. Max Dumsney was on pole position, Skip Jackson alongside Farr, Anderson, and Tatnell starts out of position 8. Let's take a look at the highlights of the A-Main.
Action aplenty always at Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway. Adrian Marr starting up the pointy end of the field as well. Brooke Tatnell running around the top side. There's Marr and Anderson having a good battle on the racetrack. Robbie Farr, though, in the East Coast Pipeline, number 7 J&J, doing it easily out in front.
You see a good shot of him working the wheel there. Problems mid-pack.
Yeah, Danny Smith and Betty Atkinson out of Darwin in the Northern Territory. Smith out of Danville in Indiana.
They're both out of the race as we go back to the restart. Farr out in front. Lead them away. Skip sitting right behind him. Skip Jackson tries to put pressure on the restart.
Yeah, Skip Jackson, an ex-Wanless World Series Sprint Car champion, has won it quite a few times, and also the Australian Sprint Car title a couple of times as well. There's Kerry Madsen in the TK Concrete number 55 car. That car there that Kerry's driving, he actually raced that over in the States.
Those two leaning on each other quite heavy. Speaking of leaning on each other, Max Dumsney, Skip Jackson involved in a pretty good battle up front.
Good to see Craig Brady back behind the wheel in the pick and pay list Rush Motorsport number 2 J&J. That's him circulating around on the bottom side of the racetrack. Now Robbie Farr about to put him a lap down as, the yellows have come on. Mitchell Dumsney in the Sheridan Road Rail number 77 Maxim had spun in turn 4.
After the restart, it was pretty much status quo. Robbie Farr out in front. Max Dumsney having a pretty good dice up there at the front of the field as well.
Yeah, Kerry Madsen had a bit of a moment there in turns 4. So we go back to the restart once again. Robbie Farr, Skip Jackson there, trying to make the move on the bottom side. Farr, though, carrying all that high speed around the top side of the racetrack. Oh, Trevor Green in the Adrad Radiators, Freightmaster number 4. Cool just got the car all cocked up on the bottom side of the racetrack and spun, but kept the race going. Stay green.
Skip Jackson around the outside, trying to find a way past, but it wasn't to be. It was Robbie Farr that took the win over Skip Jackson, Max Dumsney, Brooke Tatnell, Grant Anderson, Jason Johnson, Tunks, and Ricky Miolo rounds out the top 8. And it's with sadness now that we go to the last A-Main of the Wanless World Series Sprint Cars for another season. And what a grid we have, Stu.
Starting on pole, Grant Anderson. On his outside is Kerry Madsen. Then we have Mitchell Dumsney. Brooke Tatnell, that's our first two rows. We're green, as Boydo just said. The final round of Wanless World Series Sprint Cars at Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway here in Sydney.
Tatnell wanted to get up to second, was forced wide, lost a lot of ground, but he's charging back. Tell you what, his car is very hooked up on these opening laps. Look at him standing it up on the rear wheels there.
Yeah, Robbie Farr, he's circulating around very fast as well. Mitchell Dumsney, son of Max, he is one hell of a race car driver, and he is going to be a superstar of this sport of ours in the coming years.
As we've spoken about in previous rounds, generations of children coming through to pick up where their forefathers have left off, and that's what makes this sport so fantastic, doesn't it?
Exactly right, Boydo, and you look how wide the racing line is on this track right now. Madson's just cleared out, running the top side of the racetrack in his TK Concrete Maxim, number 55. Brother Ian Madsen in the event as well, and no doubt Kerry's dad Joe is sitting there watching and just going, wow, I love watching my son, and having him home because he does race over in the United States during our winter months.
Bit of tyre smoke coming up that time around too, so some hard parts of the Tyre Power Parramatta Speedway circuit as we watch Dumsney pushing hard at the moment in the 5 Valvoline car.
Gee, Marty Perovic very, very high on the racetrack there in the network painting number 17 Maxim. So just watching the field come through, there's our race leader Kerry Madsen about to put Danny Smith down a lap. Mitchell whacking the cushion hard with that big right rear, that Hoosier right rear tyre.
Moving around a lot, wasn't it? He's lost a lot of time as a result of that. It's not something we expect to see from him as Tatnell tries to work his way forward.
Yeah, Grant Anderson was just having a look underneath our race leader Kerry Madsen then, so Anderson's got a very, very fast race car.
Good side-by-side action as this race continues on. The final time, so I suppose all the drivers prepared to put it on the line.
Yeah, they are, Boydo, and that's the thing. These 6 teams that have been contracted to Wanless World Series Sprint Cars have done the miles. They've crisscrossed across this big brown land of ours, and it all finishes here tonight at Tyre Power PCR. And you'd obviously love to see one of the contracted drivers to win the feature race, but the way it's looking at the moment, Kerry Madsen's just way too fast as Mitchell Dumsney now gets in underneath Brooke Tatnell, so that's for 3rd spot. Mitchell's on a charge.
Robbie Farr trying to get past Tatnell as well. Those two in a ding-dong battle. Looks like Farr may have even lost a spot as a result of that little dice he was in a few seconds ago. No, managed to hold it down and gets past Tatnell.
Yeah, Farry's got a fast car now as well. And the other man that's on the charge is Mitchell's dad, Max. He's coming. There's Adrian Marr going past. Trevor Green as well. All the local Sydney guys, they're very fast. And that's one thing about Parramatta here, Boydo. When the contracted boys come into town, they know they've got a race on their hands.
With a star like Max Dumsney, Mitchell's dad. I suppose that's an interesting way of putting it, and may well be the way we refer to Mitchell in the future too.
Oh, I think we will, because he is going to be a superstar. So Madsen pretty well got it nice and easy out in front right now. He's about to put Danny Reedy down a lap. Mitchell's up to 2nd and really, really quick out there on the racetrack. He's actually closing in on Kerry Madsen. So Mitchell, he's got his stuff worked out to be able to be fast around Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway. Look at the battle between Max Dumsney, Danny Smith. Danny Smith's a lap car, but Robbie Farr's there as well, as is Grant Anderson.
Yeah, Robbie Farr with the upper hand at the moment, but only for a short period, you can guess, and we'll have traffic not only getting out of the way, but pulling out Danny Smith out of this race. He'd be a little bit disappointed. That's not the way he wanted to end his season. Yeah,
not only is Danny Smith disappointed, but the race fans that have come from all over Australia to come and watch this man race at Parramatta. He actually raced back in Parramatta way back in the early 80s was the first time he come to Parramatta to race.
Yeah, he settled down. I remember the 80s.
Well, so do I. Don't worry about that. But Craig Brady still out there racing around. Madsen still hasn't got past. Here comes Mitchell. Mitchell's on the charge, all right. He's up on beside Kerry Madsen. And I can tell you one thing right now. Kerry Madsen just sat up in his seat and said, well, hang on, I've got to drive this car now.
Yeah, Mitchell slid it right into the corner and probably gave Madsen a bit of a scare, if the truth be known.
Mitchell's a lot faster than what Kerry is right now. He's nearly tagged the back of him. The front Nerf bar nearly hit the back of Kerry Madsen's race car. So Mitchell, he's got a fast car in this Eagle 1 Sheridan Road Rail, number 77 Maxim. To the outside goes Dumsney. Nearly contact down the back straight.
Geez, got some pace, and look how quick he is through the corners. That's where he seems to have the advantage, but just can't get the run. Now tries to flick back to the inside. can't make it stick there. Oh, this could end in disaster almost.
Well, we go back to the second round of Wanderlust World Series Sprint Cars where Mitchell Dumsney had a great battle with Robbie Farr, and as they crossed the line they made contact. Mitchell won the race but upside down, so you know Mitchell loves racing around Tyre Power Parramatta City Raceway.
Yeah, let's hope he doesn't finish upside down here this weekend. Up into the dirty stuff. Lost a bit of ground. Looks like he's about to lose a spot too. And needs to be kind here.
Did you see who it was though, boy?
Yes,
it's father and son. They're about to go at it, I do believe. They are super fast, and I wonder if Dad's told son, mate, if I get up beside you, I come through, I'm your father. You've got to listen to your father.
There's no race orders, provided you don't want to lift home.
Exactly right. So now Max is up to third, Mitchell's in second. Race leader is Kerry Madsen as we concentrate on Mitchell Dumsney now. As he exits turn 4, car starting to just get that little bit loose as well. I notice as it come out of turn 4, Madsen just keeping the car nice and straight.
And see, Max Dumsney will know he'll push hard here because he knows if his son beats him, it's just not going to be worth the grief later on in the week.
Exactly. Dumsney, side by side. Mitchell on the top. Father Max is on the bottom. This is fantastic. Look at it, wheel to wheel, father and son. I bet you they're both sitting there just grinning like Cheshire cats.
Absolutely. Well, they will be after the race at the moment. They're trying to battle each other for position out there, and they will be intense. You can guarantee it.
Still going at it. Have a look at this. Mitchell on the top for Eagle One, Max on the bottom for Valvoline.
So,
side by side sprint car racing.
So, son, you think you can race?
Yeah.
Pop this. Oh, and he's got the upper hand too, Mitchell. Dumsney's caught behind lap traffic, and, well, Mitchell's just bolted off into the distance.
Yeah, Kerry Madsen's still out in front, so Mitchell still in second. Danny Reedy was that lap car that just caused that little problem for Max not to stay with Mitchell. So, Mitchell, has he got something for Kerry Madsen now? We'll have to wait and see. He's still in second spot, and he's got Daylight back to third to his father.
Oh, that was a great little dice, wasn't it? You could feel the excitement in the camp.
Oh, I don't think it's over yet either. Just look at the way Max is starting to close back in on Mitchell. So 1, 2, 3, they're nose to tail, but there is air between them.
Well, we've been saying it all year, haven't we? That really once these longer races get underway, Max Dumsney's car gets stronger and stronger as these longer races go on.
Yeah, and I know with Max, Mitchell doesn't really have a crew chief. Mitchell does pretty much all the work on his car and setting it up, and he's learning his way, and that's what Max did when he was back down in the southwest part of Victoria when he first started racing. As it's on again now, Max pulls up beside Mitchell, pulls a wheel stand. Oh, people will be talking about this race for years to come.
I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, what better thing could you hope for than a father to be able to race side by side with your son at this level of competition? Both of them taking different lines, both of them with very, very quick machines. And, yeah, it's going to make an interesting off-season for those two. This battle that we're seeing at the moment may go on for the next couple of years.
True. And this is actually not only just for a position on the racetrack, this is for on the podium, mind you, as well, because they're both running second and third, still side by side in the background. Kerry Madsen, still our race leader with 1 to go.
We're on the final lap. Sorry that we focused on that battle for so long, but boy, it's been an absolute ding-dong. Checkered flag about to come out for our race leader.
Yeah, good job by Kerry Madsen. Who's going to be second? It's a Dumsney. It's Mitchell. Max home for third, and wow, that is awesome. Look at the crowd. They're standing, they're clapping, they're cheering. What a result for Kerry Madsen, though. Mitchell Dumsney home in second and Max Dumsney home in third. And well done to everybody involved with Wanderlust World Series Sprint Cars this year, and to all those drivers that competed. Wow, what a series.
Stu, look at the way it finishes up. Brooke Tatnall takes out the Wanderlust World Series Sprint Car Championship over Farr, and Ricky Miolo is able to move one forward on Peter Lack. Well, unfortunately, that wraps up all of the action for this season of the Wanderlust World Series Sprint Cars. They'll be back later in the year to wreak more havoc in the dirt. We hope you've enjoyed all of our motor racing action. We'll look forward to catching up with you next time. Bye for now.